Hi there. In the last video, I told you that we would be looking at some sentence rules today, and we are going to do that. I want to start with end marks because I think if we start with end marks, then the next lesson will be a little bit easier for us. So let's zoom in so that I can give you the rules. I'm sorry, we're on page 125. 125. And let's zoom in to add our first definition. Really, it's just a statement of fact. End marks this is a compound word, end marks, stop sentences. They're stop signs. Here's an example. Full stop. End marks stop sentences. They let your reader know that you're finished with that thought. And they're very, very, very important. When you have to write an essay, you have to get those end marks in the right spot. And we're going to practice that a lot. So if you don't understand this yet, just hang in there with me and it will get better. There are 3 end marks. And here comes the list, so I'm going to put the colon there. Here's the first one and the most common one. In America, we call this one a period. In Britain, English-speaking countries, they may call it a full stop. I'm going to use the term full stop because it gives the meaning of what I want it to do. It is a full, complete stop. And then we have this end mark. That is a question mark. So if we're asking a question, the question mark is the stop sign. That lets the reader know I'm stopping right here, and I'm also asking you to respond. I'm asking for information. And then the third one and final one is this one. It's called an exclamation point or an exclamation mark. I learned it as point, so that's what I will say, I'm sure, without thinking. The exclamation point. So there are our 3 choices to stop a sentence. So let's talk about when we use each one. How do I know if I need a period or a full stop or an exclamation point? How do I know? And there are some rules on that. So come over here to your dot grid space and I want you to draw a line for me. I'm going to go 2 spaces down, 2 spaces in, and go over 2 spaces to the end. So something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? Go down 2 rows, draw another one. We're just making some lines here. Down 2 rows, draw another one. Down 2 rows, draw another one. And down 2 rows, draw the last one. And I had honestly planned to do this for you. I just forgot to go back into the original and do it, so I apologize. Then we want to connect this end and this end. So you have drawn yourself a table with 4 rows, and I need another row, sorry. So let's just add one, no big deal. Bring that on down. So you should have a table with 5 rows. And then coming in from the right side, I want you to mark off two lines there for that last column. And then just eyeball it and split this one in half. So something like this. And you can stop the video until you get it sketched. It does not have to be perfect. This is your notes. It doesn't have, we're not turning this in to anybody. It doesn't have to be precise. Okay, in this first column, I'm going to write the type of sentence. And in American English, there are 4 types of sentences. And let me zoom in here so you can see. The first, and by far the most common, I believe it's about 90% of sentences, are declarative. And I'm going to tell you what that means. Just hang in there with me. Interrogative. That is a big word. If you break it down into syllables, you have interrogative. That's 5 syllables in that word. Imperative. And exclamatory. So those are the 5 types of sentences in English, American English. So what's the purpose of each one of these? Let's define them so we understand what a declarative sentence does. Declarative sentence tells information. It makes a statement. And when I learned these in school, I learned to call it a statement. I didn't know about the word declarative until I was much older. And you may be thinking, why is she making me learn declarative if I can just call it a statement? The reason is because the HiSET test, the GED test, any of those formal standardized tests will use the proper vocabulary. So they're likely to use words like declarative and interrogative. And if you don't know what those are, you're at a disadvantage on the test. So a declarative sentence is a statement. An interrogative sentence. Now think about this. If you get arrested, heaven forbid, or if you see a crime, maybe you didn't do anything wrong, let's use that analogy, and the police interrogate you. They're asking you questions when they interrogate. So an interrogative sentence asks a question. It asks for information. Instead of telling you information, it asks for information. So this one is a question. Interrogative is question. And I think I'm going to change the colors just to keep these separate. Interrogative is a question. Imperative gives instructions. If you're in the military, you're used to imperative sentences. They are commands. Sometimes they're nice, they're polite, and sometimes they aren't. But imperative sentences give commands. And I'm going to give you some examples in just a second of what these mean. I'll show you what they look like. Exclamatory shows strong emotion. Could be anger, happiness, fear, sadness, anything that is more than your regular everyday state of mind. So exclamatory sentences show strong emotion. Okay. All right, let's look at the end marks for each one of these, because remember that's what our lesson is about. So the end mark for a declarative statement is a full stop. It's a period. Okay. For an interrogative question, I bet you know this one, it's a question mark. For an imperative command, let me give you two different examples here of situations, of stories. Let's say that you're in the classroom and we're taking a test and you have 1 hour to complete the test. So when the time limit comes up, the teacher says, stop. Okay, that's an imperative sentence. Stop. Okay, let's suppose that you walk out of class and you're getting into your car and there are cars coming around you driving in the parking lot, and you see a child run out in front of one of those cars, and the child is about to get run over. Do you say stop? No, you say stop. Okay, you hear that strong emotion. So imperative sentences can be full stops, like the test where the teacher just says, time's up, stop. She doesn't scream at you, she just says stop. Or if the child is crossing the street in front of a car, you say stop. That is still a command, but it's an emotional command. So it's an exclamatory command. So you use the exclamation point. And exclamatory sentences, if I say, I want $1,000,000, that has strong emotion. So that's going to be an exclamation. This one is not very common. We don't spend most of our lives in high emotional states. Some people do. If they have a lot of drama in their life, then they're probably going to use a lot of exclamation points. But most sentences are going to be declarative. Okay, let's look at some examples. And I'm going to help you figure out which end mark we need. So we're going to start with this one. Tomorrow is Friday. Sorry. Okay, so we have to stop here and think about this end mark. I need to stop this sentence. It's not a question, so it can't be a question mark. For me, I work Monday through Friday, so Friday is great. That is a day that I am looking forward to. So I would probably say, yay, yay, tomorrow is Friday. But what if I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? And I've been off all week, and I say, tomorrow is Friday. Okay. That is not very exciting. That is probably just a full stop. Or if you're just having a casual conversation, you're not excited, it's just a statement of fact. Tomorrow is Friday. If I were to say the sun is shining, that's just a statement of fact in most cases. Here's one. Are you working this weekend? Are you working this weekend? Stop that with a question mark because that requires some response. Okay. My dad used to say this all the time because I never remembered. But he never yelled at me. He just said it very nicely, very calmly. Please close the door, or please turn off the light. Please remember to close the door. He wasn't yelling, he was calm, but this is a command. Even though I put the word please with it, it is still an order to do something. So this is an imperative sentence. And it's just a calm sentence. Nothing exciting, but it is a command to do something. Okay. Here's another example of my dad. I got a set of drums for Christmas one year, and I could not play them, but I tried. I tried very, very hard. And after hours and hours and hours of hearing me beat on those drums, Dad would say, "Stop it now." Do you think he said, "Stop it now"? No, it was, "Stop it now." Okay? That is exclamatory. That has strong emotion. Okay? You see the difference between "please close the door" and the immediate command to stop it now. That one carries a little more force than the please. Okay, one more and then we'll be done with this one. You help me decide here. If someone knocks on your door and hands you keys to a new car, and you call your friend to tell him or her, how are you going to say this sentence? Are you going to say, "I want a new car"? Or are you going to say, "I want a new car"? You hear the emotion in there. That is exclamatory. Okay? We are going to be practicing this a lot. I just wanted you to learn the 4 types of sentences, that proper name for them, and what they mean, what they represent. So we will move on to the next video and you'll see end marks again and again. So we will be referring to this quite often. I will see you soon.